I wouldn't have.
Maintaining it?
Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem at all if they had a receiver appointed. The 99% of the time, they won't take any action until they have title. So giving them the right to appeal that it's a vacant. Our experience in the village has been that getting a lender to take action before it has title, and this has been my experience elsewhere, is very difficult.
Well, my experience is that if a building is vacant and it's in foreclosure, even before the foreclosure process is completed, oftentimes, if there's potential waste, the mortgage company will come in and ask for an emergency appointment of a receiver.
Commercial property.
Well, I know commercial for sure,
But
but
not-
sometimes residential.
Not single. I'll tell you, we had in another village, we had foreclosure going on, and the owner and a crew of people came in the day before the foreclosure sale and started carting out the HVAC, anything that they could. We were calling the lender saying, what's going on here? And they said, sorry, we can't do anything until the sale is complete.
But they should have had a receiver. They could have stopped it.
They should.
The next page, 8. Again, my comment was all these spots where you say owner, maybe you want to think about lien holder, but maybe not. So that's just a comment. But that's throughout. And I think that might be it.
Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I had one. On page 11, number 8. Am I misreading when it says that if you have a vacant building, it must have a fire protection system? Because if it does, that's an awful onerous thing to put on some.
It just says all of them that are there shall be maintained and remain in service if they're there. Not that they have to be installed, but they shall be maintained and remain in service. So if you have one,
Okay,
because otherwise we're going to end up with false alarms or.
fine. I misread. My bad.
Anybody else?
Is it safe to assume everybody accepts the tightened up timetables?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Allow me, if you would, then to go back. I mean, I agree with Michael that, I've already gone through this several cuts trying to winnow out the stuff that I didn't think applied well to us. And I think some of these comments would make this fit our community a little bit better, so.
I think agreed. So we will continue this until the next meeting.
That's all right.
Okay? Thank you. Good comments, Michael.
Do we have, no, wait a minute, do we have to do something because we've had a motion, and a second, and discussion?
Get a motion for second
Do we have
reading.
to table it, or just not do anything?
We can not do anything, we can
We'll just continue to the next meeting.
Okay,
continue discussion to the next
fine.
meeting.
Okay. An ordinance implementing provisions of the State Officials and Employees Ethics Act. Have a motion for waive first reading.
So moved. Second.
All in favor of waiving first reading?
Aye.
Have a motion for second reading and adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Bruce, why don't you explain what's going on?
Well, there was something called the State Gift Ban Act, and it was litigated. I think parts of it were held unconstitutional. Eventually, the state repealed it, but for a period of time, there was a model ordinance, and we and all the communities adopted the model ordinance implementing the State Gift Ban Act. About a month or 6 weeks ago, Bruce Masterson sent me an email asking about the duties of village clerk, one of which was to do something, administer the duties of something under the State Gift Ban Act, which was in our code. And I wrote back and said, no, the State Gift Ban Act's been repealed. That can't still be one of the duties of the village clerk. So I said, why is that still in the code? I went back and looked, and I realized that we still had it on our books, and the replacement is something called the State Officials and Employees Ethics Act. The legislature passed this a few years ago, actually said that we were all supposed to adopt it within 90 days after passage or something like that. Sorry, Springfield. Sorry.
They won't catch up with that for a year or two.
Anyway, so the language, again, there's, I think even the Attorney General worked on the implementing language for this ordinance. it implements the provisions of the State Act. I gave you a copy of the relevant sections of the State Act because, as you can see, everything refers to a state employee. There's another section that says that all of these provisions that refer to state employees actually also refer, when you implement them at the local level, to an officer or employee of the village, and there's a definition for that. So, in theory, we are required to do this. And this is, I thought, especially given the fact that, well, we have the old version on our books. That's no good, and we have a campaign and election coming up. So I thought it was probably a good idea to catch up with the times, bring the current language in front of you. We can all have it in front of us from time to time if we need it. That's the story.
Any questions?
I don't know that this has been challenged, so I don't know if there's ever been a case questioning whether this is constitutional. I think this has less, the old Gift Ban Act had, I think, more details on types of gifts and solicitation of gifts, and it had this whole setting up of an ethics officer. A lot of communities were setting up designating someone as the village ethics officer to investigate all kinds of things. And this is a simpler set of provisions.
One point, is it safe to assume that if this goes through as written, et cetera, we're going to have some internal training sessions for our employees and police department to explain this and go through it? You know, Susie or Russ for the staff and Chief Dano for the police or whoever he appoints. Is that a fair request?
Fair request. It's a good idea. Chief already asked me a couple of questions when he saw the language about accepting food. And there's from time to time people think of our police officers and stop by with a cupcake or something.
But if you can consume it in one sitting, it's okay.
So yes.
It's amazing. Yeah, whose rule is that, Bill?
Well,
Even
You eat a lot more than I do, though.
We do already have rules and regulations just on the police side in place that mirror much of that, but our rules are, you can't accept something for yourself, but if somebody brings something in that everybody can share, like cupcakes, or somebody just sent us a lot of candy. Pardon me?
On the statue of $100 bills.
Yeah, as long as we can share them all, but no, it has to be food, not gifts. Food, not alcoholic, that if somebody drops that off, that they can take that, but they can't take a free lunch in a restaurant. They can't do that.
I think I can safely say that there will be instances when the chief calls me up, just like he does with FOIA, and asks me a question to which I have no idea at all, not the slightest clue as to what the real answer is, and I'm sure there'll be a few of those. But
yeah, I'm pretty unclear on what the prohibited political
I
activity.
was just gonna say this, it really doesn't tell you anything, does it?
No.
The Illinois
Is it in another section, maybe?
The Illinois Municipal League on their website, when they provide the template for the model ordinance, have sort of a lead-in introduction to it, in which they say that many things remain unclear.
Ah,
So I've been studying that analysis. I think I would focus on the fact that Gift Ban says that no employee shall intentionally solicit or accept any gift from a prohibited source. And I think there's an element of intention there that probably comes into play.
Well, somebody comes, you shouldn't just take anything. That's basically the bottom line is.
Okay, do you wanna pass this today?
Sure.
Okay. Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sonic.
Yes.
Trustee Masterson.
Aye.
Trustee Coonjan. Trustee Haber.
Based upon the gift that was given to me by the mayor, I'll say A. Oh, I was just joking.
You have to give it back. Trustee Gratiter.
Yes.
Trustee Chamberlain.